Hi, Chris.
Hi, Rich. Can I inform the chair that I intend of my intention to leave before the private session starts, please?
Okay, Chris, yeah.
Thank you.
Have a friend. I know we went.
Hi, everyone.
The.
Well, friends, few though we are, it is 6:30. If I could call you to order, Councillor Church, and it is time that we started. Welcome, both of you here in the chamber and those who are online. It's good to have you with us. Welcome those who are here as visitors, members of the public. You're very welcome always. Can I remind all of everyone here to show respect for everyone in the meeting throughout our business in line with the obligations of the Code of Conduct? Can I also receive any apologies for absence? I have Ben, Estelle, Carol and Dave who all send their apologies. Are there any others? All right, we look forward to others arriving later then. Are there any declarations of interest and dispensations? Yes.
Yeah, I declare an interest on the two items on the private agenda, one on the Ireland Estates Trust and the other one on Berry Street toilets.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Richard, the reasons for them.
RU Estates Trust because I am a board member of the Powys Land Club, which is one of the beneficiaries, and Berry Street toilets in my capacity as a cabinet member of Powys County Council.
I know, it's just for the.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
Warwick.
Yeah, thank you. Just to declare a non-pecuniary interest in one of the items that are in private session, as I have relatives that are members of the rugby club and have previously been a member myself.
Thank you. This sounds like you were going to say something about.
Yeah, there's an item on the agenda later in relation to long-term empty property consultation from Powys. We own a property that is subject to the long-term empty charge, so the council has an interest, but you individually don't.
So we come to the public participation part of the agenda, where we receive members of the public who wish to address the meeting. This is in respect of any item of business included in the agenda, but we broaden that a little bit from the point of view of Brenton, because this isn't something we're making a decision on tonight, but you're welcome to address us anyway, because that's a very useful addition to our debate. No resolutions may be made under items brought to the meeting at this point, and they should relate only to matters of council policy on practice and not individual affairs of the questioner or any other named person. I'm simply in the order that you arrived at the building, I'm going to ask Brendan to speak first. Basically, I know Brendan is just wanted to update us on the situation as regards Alford Play facilities and the involvement of Fluid Allen and what they would like from us. If you'd like to come forward and speak from the front. Yeah, come into this area, then the owl will pick you up.
There we are. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, members. Thank you, those on Teams as well, for allowing me the opportunity to address. I'll keep it very, very brief. Really, my attendance this evening is as a matter of courtesy, following speaking to the Operations Committee on the 8th of July regarding the play facilities at Oldford. That was one aspect of my attendance and conversation stroke presentation. The second part was around the availability of kind of community or communal land that we currently have, grassed area, and any kind of interest that council have in working with ourselves or leasing additional areas than is currently the case. Currently, the Scansers pitch is in. We're working with Richard to renew that lease, and that may or may not include our council's determination which there's an extended area beyond that you wish to proceed with. That's that aspect. In terms of the play area, we're looking to have a day, in terms of consultation during the month of August, and Councillor Meredith, as one of the ward councillors for that area, has expressed a wish to be involved in any consultation exercise that takes place. My thoughts were to keep it very simple, just an outdoor consultation, and invite all members of the community, to come along and express an opinion, and that really will give us the basis of an action, pulling an action plan together, and going forward. My own view in terms of play facilities is to look at play and well-being. So perhaps coming away from the traditional, aspect of just solely items of equipment, but can we, for instance, look at a trim trail or, different things to exercise and include well-being as well as play. So that's all I wish to say to council, to keep it brief. And I'd be very happy to come back at a later date and meet with members privately, or as you deem appropriate. Really, that's where, and I'll update from the August consultation event, if I may, at a later date. So that's where we are.
If you could just let us know the dates when, so we can help you publicise the consultation. I think we agreed that in the meeting.
Yeah.
If you could just let us know, we'll have what we can do.
So when I came here in at the council in July, my colleague has since been away on annual leave. It's only returned this week, so I've not had the opportunity to, and that's the officer who'll be dealing with it. Okay, cool. I'll come on. Yeah, there we are. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Brendan.
Thank you.
And yes, I'm sure as far as the consultation is concerned, council will be happy to lend whatever support and help we can. If there's any more detail in exactly what we can do on any of these specific things, play our part in supporting Clwyd Allen, then if we have that in time to be on the agenda for the next operations, which will be September now, but so you've got a month. But that would be really good.
Okay,
thanks. Right, so we have Cheryl. Are you both speaking, or are you? Yeah. And a reminder to people that this is a subject that we're looking at in confidential sessions, so this is not time for debate, but if you have questions of content or anything you would need explaining or given in more detail, then do please ask a question after Cheryl has finished.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time tonight. I'm Cheryl Biggs, Chair of Welshpool Rugby Club. Frank's here as Chair of the Joint Club, so that's Welshpool Rugby and Cricket. Okay, so I've come this evening to outline why we find it fit to have a 99-year lease at the Welshpool Rugby Cricket Club. Before my time as chair at the club, I'm now coming into the second season. I'm led to believe it was agreed in full council some years ago now, probably more than 3, that the lease would be extended to 99 years. But I'm told that this wasn't recorded correctly. Okay, so I note in the agenda for this evening's meeting that it's recently been discussed with councillors attending the operations and development meeting that they agreed that this would only renew for 10 years. I'm unclear as to the reasoning of this, and obviously it's held in confidential sessions, so we haven't been given a reason. A few months ago, I emailed the town clerk to invite town councillors to attend the club so they could have an insight into the difficulties we have with accessibility to the club. I haven't heard from anybody, but if anybody wants to arrange a visit with me, please ask the town clerk for my email, and you'll be most welcome to come and have a look if you haven't, been there ever. So give you some background to the club. We've approximately 200 members, ranging from first team players, warriors, which is our junior rugby. They are age 5 and upwards playing rugby. Walking rugby, which is all age groups. This season, which is new to us, it'll be a mixed ability team, which is find we're quite excited about. I'm told that the cricket club have approximately 60 members. We have other bodies requesting to attend our club to use the facilities. RGC, which, if people aren't aware, is a development club for young players to attend to enable them to possibly progress to play for Wales. The Ospreys in the community did a rugby camp with youngsters, which was very well attended by local communities and also the high school request to use our facilities. With the RGC players, we've had several from our club, which puts Welshpool on the map. If anybody has visited our club, you'll understand the difficulties we have with accessibility. We've got stairs up to the bar. We've got further stairs up to the ladies' toilets. We've got stairs to go down to the gents. We've got stairs to go down to the changing rooms. There's stairs everywhere. And it's totally inaccessible. Accessibility for all is totally, the accessible for all is totally unviable at the moment and is sorry, I'm missing my words. In this day and age, we would like to enhance the club so it's inviting for all local community to attend. The Equality Act 2010 states, just briefly, service providers employing landlords must make reasonable adjustments to physical features of buildings that may place disabled people at a substantial disadvantage compared to non-disabled people, including accessible entrances, routes, facilities, and may involve removing barriers, altering layouts, and providing alternative means of access. Bearing in mind, the club does not meet any of this criteria. Also, if there's family attendant, we have no changing facilities. Injured players are unable to come and see their teammates because they can't get up the stairs if they're on crutches, etc. Anyone with disabilities at all, it's a huge hindrance. We had an advocate, an ex-committee member helping with accessibility, who is an ex-Paralympian wheelchair user, James Roberts. Some of you may know him. He's unable to attend future meetings due to the inaccessibility. So I'm under the impression that a standard lease is 99 years. And to help us get funding and progress further, this is what we're really, really looking for. I know the lease has been drawn up with the solicitors because I've had it with all these things. And for some reason, it's now been revoked. So in order for us to move forward to enhance the building, we're looking possibly to get a 99-year lease. This would be beneficial for all players, surrounding areas, upcoming players, everybody in the surrounding areas. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, just to back up what Cheryl said, it's not just for the rugby, it's for the community. Presently, there is nowhere in Welshpool to hold a christening. You have to go to a pub and mix with the ordinary clients or the clients who are in the pub. Rugby club, cricket club is an ideal building to host christenings, parties, 21st. We've actually had a wedding parties down there.
We've got that in Buckton.
But at the moment, as Cheryl emphasised, the facilities just aren't up to it at the moment. And we can't afford to invest ourselves. We need grant work, and we can't get grants without the long-term lease. It's as simple as that, unfortunately.
Thank you. We're talking about the rugby and cricket club building, aren't we?
Yes,
The lease.
clubhouse,
Yeah, no, but we're talking
yeah.
about the building.
yes.
What is it that you want to do to that? You've explained the difficulties. Are you looking to put up a different building?
No,
No,
So
enhance the one that we've got.
enhance the one you've got? And do you have any idea of how much you'd be likely to spend? Presumably you've looked into some of this.
We have, yes, yeah, but looking to put a lift in, as you already know, is extreme costs. That would be the first thing. To put in accessible toilets would be another thing. Yeah, that would be the first part. I think doing everything would be hundreds of thousands.
Several 100,000.
yes.
Yes. That was what I was thinking. Thank you.
I'm very familiar with the rugby club. and I've said this on numerous occasions in this chamber, stepping into the rugby, and this is with no disrespect to the club whatsoever, but stepping into the rugby club today is like stepping back into the 1970s. And I totally support what Cheryl was saying about the improvements. The improvements to me are to benefit our town, our community, our people, in particular disabled people, women, children, and the whole community. So I hope I'm allowed to say this, Rich, in open session. I would just like to say that I totally support what Cheryl has said.
Thank you. I do want to just be careful. This is a time for questions and not comments and debate.
Sorry.
But because we have that coming. But yes, Jackson.
Just a quick question. You mentioned it's going to be incredibly expensive and you've been looking at getting grants and stuff.
Yeah.
Is it from them you've heard the 99 years is the preferable in order to get those grants?
To be quite honest, the amount of money that we'd be looking at,
Yeah.
I know it's been mentioned before and Frank might back me up on this, but it's raising money such as, you know, mortgage, perhaps, because we're never going to get grants the amount of work that actually needs to be doing. And if we're looking at a mortgage, they wouldn't even look.
Yes, so
Without
it's more
99.
mortgages than grant bodies, right, yeah.
They wouldn't look at it.
And you're both cricket and rugby using the same facilities,
yeah,
so what you get, brilliant, yeah.
When the club was first built in 1982, obviously the cricket and rugby had a mortgage. That's paid off now. So both clubs are mortgage free.
Yeah.
So basically we could put both clubs in debt again.
Yeah.
With a mortgage, but it's still, there's something we need to do.
But if you've got the guarantee, you feel you can do
mortgage,
it.
yeah.
We can get more people in.
Yeah.
We can get more people involved. The mixed ability, you know, that's a huge area. You know, to get us going.
Thanks. I think Kelly had a question.
He actually raised
Okay.
before I did.
Richard,
I was
Just to-
being polite.
Just to clarify, 'cause I'm not on the ops committee. So when you built the building with a mortgage,
Yes.
whenever it was, what was the length of the lease that you entered into at that time?
Well, I'd have to look at
This is well before my time.
Yes. I would assume that would be 82.
They've all been about 25 or 28 years.
Right.
Because this current one is 2009 until
Yeah.
2035, 28 years. So the previous one is between 82 and.
Right, okay,
Or there's been
so-
one between that.
Yeah, you probably had two leases of 25 years approximately, that sort of thing. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. When obviously COVID, it was closed, but we had to obviously we had a COVID grant, which was in excess of 20,000, which we plowed into the club to update facilities inside. And that's gone some, it was back in the 70s. I think it looks a bit better than that now, but yeah, money was used to invest into the club, every single penny.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
Yes, so I actually have got a question. How profitable is the club? Are you making money?
We make money, we don't pay players. When players have got to pay to play, everybody pays a subscription, being a player, social member. Juniors pay a fee to play. So we're not rich,
No.
but we have got a little amount of money.
Okay.
That's fine. You stated in your statement that you have a copy of the 99-year lease. Is that copy signed by both parties?
No, it's signed by myself as chair of the rugby, and it's signed by Russ Cadwallader Cricket Club.
And how long have you had that copy in your possession? I mean, is there any reason
Not
why
long.
it didn't?
We assumed, we were assumed that the 99-year lease was going to go ahead. So we went to the solicitor and updated the lease, ready to be signed. Only to find out it had been refused, that's right.
Yeah,
Both parties get a copy, so I get one and you get one. You signed yours, good then.
yeah, no,
It's okay. Sorry, So you received a copy, so I'm just making sure I understand the timeline.
Yeah.
So you received a copy, you signed it,
I want to say it was back in June.
of this year?
Because- Yeah,
Okay.
June this year, because we had, I signed it.
15th of June.
Oh, there you go. So
So before
that's
then-
when we had it.
Okay,
So before then, we thought that we'd received this copy and that everything was in order, and obviously it's now backtracked.
got it.
We
Okay,
obviously don't know the reasons.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Check it out.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're very welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you want, but you would have to leave before the confidential section.
No, that's
anyway,
fine.
so, but it's, but thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for what you get.
See you, Brad.
Anytime. Just think.
Don't forget, give all your regards to Bob.
I've got these.
Well, that's not very obviously.
I actually just got my.
Yeah, I'll find out, yes, I'll give you a shout.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Take care, thank you. Bye.
Bye. Stay cool.
So that takes us to item 4 on the agenda, the town mayor's reports, this is it. Since our last full council meeting, I have already failed in my endeavour to attend all committee meetings. Since the last, I had to give my apologies regarding finance and governance last week, not in order to watch football, but because Gilsfield Singers had switched their practice to that night, and council and family events had caused me to miss so much practice time in recent weeks that I needed to be there. Indeed, I had particular permission from the chair of the committee because she had bought a ticket for the concert. I crossed the river and into a neighbouring authority earlier this month, having been invited to open the new Forest School outdoor classroom at Leighton's school. The invitation coming from a teacher who is a fellow governor at his Golden Ride. I was glad to have the approval both of the chair of Fordham with Leighton and Treloston Community Council and the incoming vicar of Leighton to do so. So I did go with a small halo over my head, and I was greatly impressed at what a small school has managed to do in terms of enabling outdoor activity and learning about nature conservation. And I thoroughly endorse the whole Forest School endeavour. Over the next few months, I intend to spend time visiting as many as possible of the various organisations in the town that work in the area of care and social support, and see for myself in action as many as I can of the amazing body of volunteers who keep all this work going. There are some fantastic people in this town who work very hard for the sake of the community and for others. And obviously I'd also like to meet some of those others, some of those who benefit from the work they do. So far, I've made an initial approach to the Integrated Family Centre in Oldford and the Pontabram project. In general, I'm always glad to respond to any invitations to visit organisations, clubs, sports teams and so on, whether formally as mayor, which is nice because you get cake, or less formally, because you still learn lots of good stuff. One of the first to invite me has been the Bowls Club, so I'll be looking in on them before long. They've got a big match that they want me to go to. I've also committed myself to doing some work on litter with young people at the Feathers Club, and this will, I hope, include some litter picks in that part of town during the coming month. I took part in a litter pick at the beginning of this month, in time to coincide with the World's Plastic Free Day. Councillor Church was also there. Following my comments on litter at this meeting last month, I've had some useful meetings with James Thompson and Martin Jakes regarding how we can cooperate and how we can report on problem areas. Martin and I happened to be talking by a bin near my home at which fly tipping of kitchen waste had taken place when the driver of a passing car stopped to give us the registration number of the car from which he had seen the bags of waste being unloaded. So marvellous that when something like that happens, quite serendipitous. So that's my report for this month. And next month, of course, we'll be able to report on the Royal Welsh Show, to which the town clerk and I are going tomorrow. So that takes me on quickly to item 5, County Council and County Councillor updates. We have one County Councillor in the room and one County Councillor online. Richard, anything you have to give us first of all?
Well, probably something that Graham will want to raise as well. I don't know. At the last full county council meeting, we debated a motion proposed by Graham on the closure of possible closure of beds at community hospitals, including Welshpool Community Hospital, which is currently an option being considered by Powys Teaching Health Board. I think probably on reflection, it would have been good if we'd asked for there to be an item on the agenda for this tonight.
There is item 10.2.
Is it there? Beg your pardon. Oh, I missed it. Well, I'll probably say more about it when we get to that point. But the motion that was proposed by Graham was unanimously passed, and I'm sure it's something that we will want to pursue as a town council.
Well, since we have Graham with us, Graham, would you like to sort of update us on the process that led to that vote?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I have two items that I was going to raise, so I'll go into the Welshpool Hospital one first, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And as Richard says, it has been discussed by the council. Powys Teaching Health Board, as you know, is considering a number of options which could result in a substantial reduction in inpatient hospital beds across Powys, including the potential concentration of bed-based services on a limited number of sites. This is part of the Health Board's Better Together programme, on which public consultation is proposed later this year. Thanks to the agreement with Powys County Council's chairman, Councillor Jeff Morgan, I obtained permission to present an urgent motion to the July meeting of the council, calling for a meeting with Powys Teaching Health Board and the full Powys Council. And I'm pleased to say that the motion received unanimous support, as Richard says, from all parties, which is a very rare thing in County Hall. The chairman of the council has now written to the Health Board requesting the urgent meeting ahead of them going out to public consultation. That meeting will seek detailed information from the Health Board regarding the options currently under consideration and the potential impact of any reduction in hospital bed numbers. It will discuss the adverse implications that any decision to reduce inpatient bed capacity could have on the people of Powys, including patient flow, delayed discharges, access to local healthcare services, and pressures on neighbouring hospitals. We're all, I'm sure, individually aware of the current shortage of beds in Welshpool Hospital and all the cottage hospitals across Powys too. So the thought of losing the limited number of beds that we have now is quite frankly frightening. So, as Richard mentioned, I hope that the Welshpool Town Council will later consider writing to Powys Teaching Health Board in the strongest terms, asking for the removal of such options from the consultation process. I'm happy to take any questions, but I really don't know any more about the proposals at this stage, only that they have been leaked and raised by most, if not all, the political parties in the Senate. My other issue was just to update you on the situation at Alanva. It's good and long-awaited news in regard to the reopening of the Powysland Museum. I'm pleased to inform you, if you haven't heard already, of the partial reopening of the museum at Alanva last Monday. One gallery is now fully accessible to visitors, while the second gallery, whilst visible to the public, will be roped off to allow staff to continue installation and display developments work safely and efficiently. The second gallery is expected to be fully completed and open by the 14th of August. You'll no doubt be aware that as chairman of the Powysland Museum Trustees, I have not been happy at the considerable delay in the reopening, but we do seem to be getting somewhere at last. Once the museum has fully reopened, a formal event is planned to celebrate the refurbishment at Alanva, and I will ensure that the town council is invited to be represented at that. I'd also like to thank our outgoing mayor, Councillor Phil Owen, for his contribution as a member of the Powysland Museum, although unfortunately the museum hasn't been open during his tenure as a trustee. And look forward to working closely with Councillor Rowell in his new role as trustee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Graham. Are there any questions for Graham? I think the only thing I would want to ask is, it's interesting, that's the Better Together consultation has been raised in the Senedd, but surely the reason why it's there at all is that the funding is not coming from the Senedd that we need to provide the services we're providing. So it is to the Senedd we need to write, as well as to the Powys Teaching Health Board, I would think. Yes.
I was wondering whether it was best when we get to this bit, but I remember that we got approached by the town councils of Newtown and other towns in the area to look at combining up the hospitals we have so they can specialise in different things and form a much more complete hospital for the Powys area. Is that something that's off the cards now, do we know, or is that something that might be able to help with this situation where obviously there's not enough funding getting in to, you know, get a proper operating hospital, albeit not at one location, for Powys?
Yes, probably is better for
talking that point.
It's an important point.
Yeah.
I mean, as Graham has said, we don't really have enough beds now.
Yeah.
And am I right, Graham, in assuming that that pretty much everything that's proposed would actually mean a reduction of the total number of beds available in Powys?
We won't have actual evidence of that, but certainly the documents that have been leaked via various political parties certainly indicate that, and that Brecon and Newtown will be the centres where the main beds will be.
And they've got some magical way of adding to the area of Newtown Hospital, because it seems to be on a reasonably confined site to me.
No, is the word.
Richard.
Yeah, I mean, it is, I think, as Graham says, it's not very clear at the moment. There are a number of options, and one of the options would see the beds closed at all of the community hospitals in Powys, apart from Newtown and Brecon. In the case of Newtown, of course, we do have the proposal for a health hub to be built there in the town centre, which will provide more outpatient facilities, and that would be welcome. What we're not clear at this stage is whether when the beds that are currently at Newtown Hospital might be moved into that facility, and how many there will be, because these are two completely different projects. The Newtown Health Hub plan is completely separate from this news that we've just heard last week.
Oh, thanks very much, both of you, anyway, for those contributions. Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I think this is a really important issue, and I'm concerned about the loss of public services, not just in health, but most potentially now in education from our region. And it isn't too far distant to recall that there were once 3 hospitals in Newtown, one in Welshpool. I was actually born in the maternity unit at Welshpool Hospital. I don't think that even exists anymore. Yeah, but gradually over the years we're losing more and more of it, and it seems to me that this is all a result of power going away from our area. We're losing the ability to make these important decisions about our region, and it seems to me that the decisions are being made at a more and more distant level from local people, and it maybe there's nothing that can be done about it. But I think we need to be fairly vociferous in wanting to retain some facilities here. It doesn't have to be in the town. I don't mind if it's in Newtown, but Newtown are losing those facilities too. There's just nothing local.
Awesome.
I think we suggest that we probably need a longer debate on this.
Yes.
But I would just add that we have not had good healthcare for a very, very, very long time. And for the document to actually say to keep our excellent healthcare is a bit of a joke because it's not. And also, it may be all right for us to go to Newtown, but what about the people that live in Llanfyllin?
Yeah.
What about the people that live in, you know, that on just before you get, you know, start to go over the Bedouins before you get to Bala? There's an awful lot of people that is very difficult for, and they forget because they're not considering it, that even in this town, we have about 29% of our population have no access to a vehicle, and we have appalling public transport. So to be able to go there to a hub somewhere else is not viable.
Thanks for that. Let's not allow this to develop into a debate we should be having later in the on the agenda. But thanks very much to both of you for that information. Are there any other questions or any other matter that the county councillors can respond to? No? Thanks very much. We move on then to item 6, which is Appendix B, which are the minutes for the last full council meeting. And I will go gently through them page by page, so that if anyone has any points of correction, amendments, addition. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. I want to just note actually on those pages that I congratulated the newly elected chairs of the first 2 committees and forgot to congratulate Morag on being re-elected to the chair of Finance and Governance. So I do apologise for that now. Got what page I want now? Page 5 probably. Page 6. Went on a bit in this one, didn't we? Page 8, and then we get to the resolutions, which still go on for quite a lot of pages. Everyone happy with all of that? Yeah, someone like to propose to be accepted them as a true record? Thanks, Kelly. I think Nick, we just got it ahead of the those in favour, please. Right, matters arising, are there any particular piece of information we need to know?
No, there's just a few that haven't been done yet, but we'll get done over the field trips. Yes, that's it.
That's fine. So that takes us on to the various committees. Item 7, minutes and recommendations. The first of those being the Events and Planning Committee. Chris, you want to point out to us as we go through?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. There is only one actually recommended to approve the implementation of the Welshpool voucher scheme with a review after 12 months.
I would support that. Yeah.
Yep. I count that as seconded because Chris has just proposed it. Those in favour, please. That's almost unanimous. Mark, were you? Yes, I think that was. Is your hand up as a vote or in order to speak? Or a vote? I'm assuming it's vote. Yeah, that's fine. Right, so that takes some. Thanks, Chris. Anything else you want to add? Anything else?
No, I think that's it, Chair.
Yeah, okay. So that takes us on to item 7.2, Operations and Development Committee, which is Appendix D, sorry. And in the absence of Councillor Pritchard, Nick, would you like to take us through it as Vice Chair?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, minutes of the previous Ops and Development Committee, page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. And then to the resolutions. We have any comments?
Yes,
The recommendations about the storage at Mysidre. I'm assuming from this that the operations manager decides where they're going to go. And the operations manager also is looking after the location, and that the club looks after the container.
yeah. I should say that the reason for this was not that we're about to install a container for every club at
No,
Mysidre.
they
It's
install them.
it's simply because we had the request from the cricket club,
Mm.
and we wanted to make sure that that didn't get out of hand. That each club could have storage if they wanted, but just one container. We had a vision of there being huge numbers of containers arriving at Mysidre at a period of time. Yeah.
I think as well, we have got one container down there that was put in by Waterloo Rovers without any permission. And it was put onto our car park bit where the menu's at the far end by the rugby club. And so I think they have to have permission beforehand.
Yeah, and
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
there now.
No, but it was, and that was done with no permission. So it's important that it's planned and
Yeah.
that the operations manager, in that case, I'm in support.
Richard.
Could I just ask whether a container that is there for longer than a certain period may require planning permission, depending upon its size?
It does.
So should we not make clear that this permission from us is conditional upon planning consent?
Absolutely, yes.
And I don't want to see containers being installed before planning permission has been sought. So I think that should be absolutely clear.
Do we want to amend the? Can I just check? Do we want to amend that to include that, or is that something that you can simply sort of add?
I'll just close that up.
Yeah, that's fine. Nick?
Sorry, this was discussed at some length at the operations committee.
For 6 months.
And it got a little bit heated, and I did ask the question to the town clerk, although it's been there longer than was originally proposed. Has it ever been a problem? Have we ever had any complaints about it?
Oh, nobody's mentioned the rugby
No.
things.
No, this was entirely about the cricket container, so, but yes, that point.
It's never been a problem, so.
You'll be pleased to know in my trawl of minutes, I found a minute authorising the containers to stay for another 2 years in 2024. So at the end of this year, the 2 years will be up. We'll do the same exercise again.
So it's legal anyway.
Yes, yeah.
Excellent. Yes.
I think the only thing that was of concern was the visual impact. I think that we were fairly wanting them to minimise the visual impact by some sort of, I don't know,
Cladding or
cladding something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that
I've got Morag waiting to speak. Morag?
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. With the whole of this report, can I just take it for clarity that we will be approving the recommendations except for the last one, which is on the agenda in private session?
Yes.
Yes.
So there's just the 5 items that are on pages 2 and 3 of the agenda.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Alison.
Yes, the rugby club have painted theirs in the colours that they use, and it doesn't stand out. It looks like a building, so I don't think it's a matter of it blending into the background as much as not looking like somebody's done a container there.
As if it's just fallen off the back
Yes,
of the.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
This is why the committee gave the ability for
Yeah.
our operations manager, who is a professional,
Yeah.
to incorporate the look.
Exactly.
Where it's going, particularly the cricket one, it's going to be in like sort of forest area. So how it blends in is unique to the locations where
Yes.
it's put in, and yes, we'll have with Paul's judgment on that.
So Nick, are you happy to propose these 5?
I propose that we accept the recommendations.
Seconded by Alison?
Yes, I second all except for
The final
791, which we're discussing later.
Yes, that's right. Those in favour, please. And you can see on item 5.5 town hall electrical that that we will be asked to later to approve the environments that enables that to be paid for. That takes us on to Finance and Governance Committee, and no, it doesn't. It takes us on to
Nick again.
health and safety. Yes, health and safety. Appendix E, which is Nick once more.
Yeah,
Congratulations on being appointed as the chair of that committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, as far as I know, this is only the second meeting we've had of this committee.
It is.
And it was quite a good thing that it came up when it did, and it was already planned, because as many of you know, we've had a few issues concerning lifts, etc., within this building, and evacuation chairs and training. So we had a little issue, which nobody was hurt, wasn't an emergency, but it highlighted some items that we needed to discuss at length, which we have. And I will commend the town clerk for the speed in which he has managed to obtain the new evac chairs which we needed, which are now in place, and we're just waiting to have the essential training to use them, which is hopefully in the very near future. But so that was really the main thing that we talked about. Fire risk assessment. Yeah, so in closed session, so I can say it. With my background, I think fire technician, I was quite concerned that I was not happy with some of the issues regarding our fire risk assessment. So I'm hoping that we are going to have a constructive conversation with our contractors that come in and do the fire risk assessment. But we'll get it sorted. It's underway. The chairs are here. We'll get the training, and hopefully everything will be fine again. As the town clerk said in a previous meeting, even with the previous chairs, we were still within legislative requirements. So we weren't doing anything that wasn't legal, so to speak. So I hope to report back after the next meeting, and that everything else will be up to scratch. On to the resolutions, election, yeah, we've done that, election, like, yeah. Fire risk assessment to note the findings, we have the findings, and we have a couple of questions for the contractors to sort out a few issues that we're concerned about. And that's it from the Health and Safety Committee.
I'll second that.
So the proposal we actually do is item 6 on page 3 of the agenda for this meeting. So noting the findings of the fire risk assessment audits, approving the fire risk assessment action plan, which you have touched, and to authorise officers to implement recommendations that can be accommodated within existing budgets. And on the understanding that any items that do require significant capital expenditure will be brought back to the Operations and Development Committee with costed options. So
I'll second it.
yeah. Thanks. Those in favour, please. Thank you. That's unanimous. And that does take us on now to finance and governance, which is Appendix F. And I'll hand over to Deputy Mayor.
Haverfordwest you're coming to now, so thank you. As per normal, many of the things that we discussed at finance and governance are on the agenda tonight. The recommendations related to the payment of invoices, which you have again tonight. There were also recommendations relating to budget environments for a number of demand-led budgets, which are listed in the recommendation. And we also recommended that we authorise the town clerk to pay urgent or contractual payments during the August recess. And that's it, Chair.
Nice to know the staff will still get paid.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. I think we just note that, don't we? Because everything else comes up.
No, all the ones on the agenda are the ones that need approving now. The rest are scattered throughout the agenda.
Oh, right, yes, okay. So, oh yes, I see. So we have the following recommendations on your agendas. Firstly, the budget balance. And in particular, you'll see the major one is the 4,500 for emergency electrical repair work, which you've already approved anyway, of the work that is, rather than the payment. And also that Alison Davis will for August in September scrutinise payments. And we need also to make sure that people do get paid during the summer recess. So you have formally proposed that, Maura, I think.
I second it along with payment of the July invoices. That's the other recommendation.
Yeah.
But that's later on.
That's in later on. So
but I'm seconding that.
So 555356 under item 7.4 is what we're doing at the moment. It's proposed and seconded. Those in favour, please. Thank you. That's once again is unanimous. Okay, business planning and financial matters, item 8. Council accounts for June, period 3. You've got appendix G, which is the usual nice little as always shows us that we're in a really good position, certainly compared to previous years. And then item H, which is the basic accounts. Are there any items that we particularly need to note?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that last finance meeting we didn't have that many queries. No. I'm happy to take any questions. Anyone's
we approve these notes?
I use to note them.
We note them.
You might not want that in the 3. But they need to be approved.
The committee is payment sheets. You can do the same.
Yeah. So I would like to propose that we note them. I would be very pleased.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alison. Seconded by Richard. Those in favour? Thank you. And that does take us on now to item 8.2, payment of invoices for July, appendix I. And we have quite a substantial number of payments that need to be made. Are there any things that are out of the ordinary that you need to tell us about, Richard?
There's just there's a few extras added on that the committee wouldn't have had, like staff salaries, because I did the payroll after the committee agenda. But that's the only changes really to it. There's a few different ones.
Happy to propose.
I'll second.
Thank you. Those in favour, please. Once again, then come. Scrutiny of payments, we weren't able to hear this at the finance and governance meeting because it hadn't quite happened then. Happened the following day, I think. So, so would you like to?
Yes, I did the internal audit for the quarter up to June. I looked at 7 items and all were fine and matched with relevant invoices or payments. So yeah, fine. Okay.
Right, so that takes us on to item 9, other matters. Bull to receive an update on the Bull Dingle. Have had a
Yeah, so since the last meeting, we've now had a response from he must be promoted in the time that we've had a conversation, but he's now the deputy head of housing, which is Mark, that came to speak to us at the meeting was it March? Like the months have merged together. Anyway, I circulated the response to you via email, so you've all had it. The response was, I'm paraphrasing, but the response was that they're looking after it and they think it's okay. I think if anyone disagrees with my assessment, then please listen. That's all the response I've got.
I think we're pretty much unanimous that the residents and ourselves don't want to take it on, because he was also like, do you want to take it on?
Yes.
I think everyone's like, oh, we're not too sure this is safe, so until we know, no one's.
Look, Howard's made the offer.
Yeah.
When they chopped your trees down, oh, we've done that job now, someone else can take it over, and but of course we didn't say anything to them.
Yeah.
And they keep asking every time we correspond on it.
They do keep asking,
But there seems to be no appetite in the chamber to do so, so there's no point in even discussing it.
I would note as well that I heard from one resident there was a very small scale fire on there in the warm weather. Just black smoke coming from one of the tree stumps. Someone came along and dealt with it, but it is one of those other things to be concerned about because of the rising temperatures and, you know, the lack of tree cover.
Well, at present, because the whole area was filled with weeds that have grown about this height, these are now dead and desiccated. They would burn very quickly and easily, I'm quite sure. So that's a real potential issue.
Yeah.
The other thing is that when they left the tree stumps in, and they preened themselves a little bit on, we left the tree stumps in on the slopes because that will help to hold the ground together, but they left the ones in the valley as well, and they are all sprouting greatly. People say, oh, aren't these trees coming on well? Yeah, they're not the ones they planted. These are grown up from the existing tree stumps, and they are going to take over from the ones they planted. They're doing much better, very much faster. So anyway, far be it for me to know. I've got a new fence now, so I'm waiting to see whether it stays in one place or whether it moves along the back or something like that. Let's see. Item 9.2 is bylaws. We have item appendixes J, K, L, and M, and these are really mostly for your information, but also so that, I guess we have to make a decision to go into the 6 weeks consultation period, don't we?
Yeah, so you've done the one consultation period required. This is now the formal step of adopting them. So you basically have to do a second objection period of 6 weeks. And then you'll have the results of that in future to actually decide if you want to make them or not. So we're still not at the stage of making. So of course they're still subject to change given that. Yeah, one from any amendments. They are model ones, so they're based on the ones that the government provide anyway. Alison asked me before about why some of them are very masculine and some of them are gender neutral. Is because UK law is written in a masculine way, and that's the model ones. But I'm sure we can push them out and change them around. But yeah, in terms of the Interpretation Act deals with the fact that any masculine includes feminine as well. So they're fine from a legal.
Any trouble being caused is probably by many sort of things.
Well, that is probably true as well. Richard,
could I just seek clarification on dog fouling and whether this, it refers to litter and waste, and obviously dog fouling is waste. Is it covered by these bylaws?
No, unfortunately, dog fouling is covered from separate legislation and cannot be considered under these ones.
Okay.
So I'll give you the boring history now. So in 2005, the government passed something called the Clean Neighbourhoods and Environment Act, which allowed authorities to introduce something called dog control orders, which you did, and you were the first town council in Wales to have a dog control order. Unfortunately, the following government in 2014, as part of the Antisocial Behaviour Act, removed dog control orders and converted them to something called PSPOs, or Public Space Protection Orders. They're much more wide-ranging. Unfortunately, our level of government is not able to have a PSPO. It has to be the level above, Paris. So whereas you could control previously dog fouling under a dog control order, you can't now. And those dog control orders were automatically converted to PSPOs only for 3 years, when Paris then had to make them, and unfortunately that ran out. So unfortunately, the bylaws cannot control dog fouling. I know that other councils though do sneak it in, and it was enforced by the magistrates. It'd probably get thrown out, but yeah. But unfortunately, you cannot regulate dog fouling in that way. You can only regulate dog fouling via a PSPO. The historians among us though will delight in the fact that I have a copy of a bylaw written in the 1950s in my desk that deals with dogs weeing on the street, Broad Street. Now, I'm not sure, it actually still might be enforced. So maybe we should try enforcing that. That was done in the borough days, and it depends when the borough bylaws moved to in terms of enforcement. But yeah, it's a complex picture, but unfortunately, I'm not able to cover it. But that's why the council, written to all the other town community councils in Powys, to try and get a PSPO, especially over the sports grounds. We haven't progressed it any further yet. We're still waiting for some of the councils to get back to us, and then we're going to take it over.
Yeah, okay.
So this would explain why we can take action against someone for allowing their dog to foul in the lower park. We can't have it anywhere else.
Well, no, we probably shouldn't even in that, but I did write it in there on the assumption that it's in there. But
I mean, just on that, I was actually looking at thinking of the lower part, because if you don't allow dog fouling there, then how do you not allow other animals fouling? Bearing in mind there's cattle there.
Yeah. And the interpretation of litter under the Litter Act is that any object or item left that is open to 3 sides of the air that isn't in a receptacle. So, you could it's up to you to determine if you think who is litter. It's one of those complex arguments. I'm sure someone's thought it somewhere, but
yeah,
we'd have to think about it. But just to say, in terms of litter, so these bylaws in particular are about our spaces, but you also have powers under the Antisocial Behaviour Act 2003 to give FPNs for fly posting, which is where people put up advertising without permission. You also have the power to issue FPNs for littering under the Litter Act, because you're a secondary litter authority, and you also have the power to issue an FPN for graffiti under the same Antisocial Behaviour Act. So if these bylaws, if you look at Section 7, paragraph 3, a separate enforcement policy will have to be considered at some point about how you enforce the bylaws if you choose to make them, and then we'll incorporate all of those provisions into that.
Bill?
Yeah, interesting that we had local bylaws once to control dogs peeing. I wonder we could do with it to stop people peeing. I've noticed that there has been a definite increase. And I mean, the very door of the town hall here appears to have been used either as a toilet or a vomitorium for some time. And we really need to do something about that. But going on to the dog fouling, if that is now in the purview of Powys, do they provide wardens or anybody to monitor dog fouling in the town? If so, what is the point?
Yeah, so PSPOs are enforced by PCSOs and council officers. I'm going to expect Powys haven't got any enforcement. PSPOs are generally used by our neighbouring authorities in Ceredigion to control their seashore front. It's those type of things. PSPOs have caught up with the old mechanisms that used to have to incorporate those type of behaviours, which do include drinking in the street, weeing in the street, all of these things are covered by a PSPO. It's up to Powys to make it though, and also look at how it's enforced. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with all the things that we're talking about, bylaws against of peeing in the street and dogs fouling and all the rest of it, but I worked for Powys County Council quite some years ago now, and we did have a dog warden. And it was his full-time job to collect stray dogs, to monitor dog fouling and stuff like that. That's been done away with. As pest control and everything else. So it's great having all these bylaws, and I totally support them. But looking at it practically, how do we actually enforce them? It's nice to have it on paper. We've got no CCTV in town, well, except for privately owned and stuff. But who is going to actually chase up, if we get a report, somebody's dog pooed on the street, who is going to chase it up and follow the prosecution?
Yeah.
Well, not us, because we can't include that in the bylaws,
No,
but
not us. It doesn't apply to dogs, but yeah.
Richard, I think you were
Well,
just
it's in response to Nick's point and Phil's point. So, environmental health officers, we do still have those.
There's not enough of them, no?
There's nowhere near enough of them, but they can legally enforce fines for dog fouling, and they've done so actually quite recently. Yeah, they have done so, and so it's worth having it there. But I agree with you. I mean, in a county the size of Powys, you need an army.
I'm not blaming Powys. I just think that they haven't got the resources.
Yeah. I don't think it should stop us trying to enforce bylaws which include that, but I accept the point.
Alison.
I'm afraid there's nothing in these bylaws that I disagree with, but I really question why we are bothering to do this. We've got 20-mile speed limits in this town that are completely ignored. We've already got bylaws. There are laws galore, and yet they are just completely, they are ignored by a small cohort, and there is no public prosecution of these people. None of them are adhered to, and I just think it's pointless. People, they drive already well outside. I mean, that isn't a bylaw, it is law, and it's completely ignored, and nobody ever catches them. And we go on, we make more and more laws, we make work for the people that are going to do it, we make laws for the courts, plenty of work for the courts, but who's actually going to do this? Our staff haven't got time. Who's going to stop these people on the street and say, you've just dropped that litter, no, we're going to deal with it. I support what they're saying. I don't see the point of us wasting our time doing it.
Totally agree.
I think the point of doing it is just to make clear what standards we do expect. But I agree, it's frustrating. Morag.
Sorry. Thank you, Chair. Where would we be if we didn't have any laws at all? I just wonder. But I agree they're hard to implement, but occasionally, if you have someone who's a repeat offender and being visible, then we can do things about it. But if we don't have the laws, we can't do anything at all. So I do support them. I have one question in relation to the toilets. It's just the fact that there is nothing that says people aren't allowed, I'm going to have to put this very delicately, allowed to conduct immoral behaviour in the toilets. And again, how you prove that is one thing, but making sure that we, set our cases in that's not what toilets are for. I just thought it was missing from it.
Maybe included in item 8, I suppose, misusing the toilets in a manner likely to cause damage, nuisance, danger to health. The nuisance bit might.
No, I didn't think that covered it really, but
Yes, Kelly.
I agree with what Alison said. I mean, my other query is that, as Councillor Howell said too, with the manpower, even when residents do their diligence to provide evidence, you know, such as like the parking website, they have a thing where if you see someone illegally parking, you know, they actually tell you to take video or take photographic evidence and submit it to them. But then the response you get back from Powis is, we have to be there physically. So why are you asking us residents to help? So my question is, you do have people that do spot illegal behavior, everything from, I have more videos than I can count of the dragster racing going down Gun Grove Hill because one almost killed my cat 3 days ago. And the police just said, oh, you have a video. I said, yes, and you can even see the gentleman's registration plate. And they just said to give it to Powis, and Powis in turn sent me back to the police, and nothing ever happened. So my question is, why ask us residents to help Powis document or to say, please report this, if you're not going to do anything with it? I mean, here we are giving you photographic evidence on a silver platter and nothing becomes of it. What more do you need exactly? If someone gives you a video with clear documentation, I just don't understand. I mean, if we were giving people something and they took action off that, I say, yes, the bylaws make sense to pursue, but I agree with Alison on this.
There is a difference between these bylaws, which are ours, and the laws as, you know, operated by the police, Paris County Council, etc. But yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, I mentioned the person who stopped and gave this registration number of the car, but Martin shook his head and said, well, you know, I didn't see it happen. There isn't anything I can do. But it says, I mean, I'll go through it if I find an address, something that's, you know, then action will be taken. But it's useful to know. But it is, I think it's important the laws are in place, even because it is part of living together in an orderly and organised way.
If I could just refresh your memory of why we're even making them in the first place. So the open space ones we already have, and I think it's more like I said, it's about a framework. You know, it might be that we never need to use it, but say 15 camper vans turned up at Miser Dre and wouldn't move, then we have got the ability to do it because we've got a bylaw. See what I mean? The market bylaws are there for a specific purpose. On Mondays we have a charter market, which means that we have a exclusive use of the parking bays that we have been allocated under our charter, and we have no mechanism to regulate them at all, because during charter market days the provisions of the Road Traffic Regulation Act don't apply, so Powis won't allow us to enforce them. So we need some bylaws to be able to enforce it. The point with the toilets, if you all remember last year, our toilets got vandalised and we provided the CCTV evidence to the police, and they said, oh, couldn't see them in the act, we can't do anything about it. That is the point of the public toilets bylaw, because they have a higher standard of prosecution. These ones have a lower standard. You know, if we've got some evidence that we know who they are, then we'll use the bylaw to pursue them properly. And without the framework in place, we can't do that. So that's the whole reason. It's not. I'm not saying that we're going to go and finding everyone. It's having the ability of the framework to do so on those extreme circumstances. Because who knows when this stuff's going to happen?
I think Jackson was waiting to speak before, so.
What I was just going to say is, I can see the disadvantage of having laws that we can't enforce, but would there be a problem when hopefully better times come and we get more enforcement, trying to bring the laws back on the book if we don't have a history of having had these laws enforced for the last 20 years? Would it make it harder to pass the bylaws when we do have the enforcement capabilities as well?
Well, but the council does have some enforcement capability.
Yeah.
I will happily stand before a magistrate and explain why we have prosecuted someone for an offence that we have set out is against our bylaw.
Brilliant.
So I've got staff who I would not want to subject them to giving FPNs because that's not what they're paid to do. But if you know, and whatever happens in the future with whatever resource we have, then we look at that and incorporate into.
And so give us future capabilities, basically.
It's all about framework.
Yeah.
FPN is fixed penalty notice in case.
Thank you.
So, Alison.
When I was mayor, we had several caravans park themselves on my Sodre. They went after a few days. And it was done, it was extremely inconvenient, but our operations manager got it sorted out. What difference would having a bylaw that says you are not to park on my Sodre make?
The ability for us to enforce it as opposed to waiting. So in terms of like traveller and caravan, usually it gets referred to the police. There is a specific law, but it's difficult to enforce, and they don't tend to enforce it. So I know of other clerks and other councils across the UK that put on various groups that clerks are involved in and say, help me, I've got all these caravans and turned it, what do I do? And the answer is, without bylaws, you've got no ability to do so. Whereas if someone did, I would refer to them to bylaw 20, a person must not, without reasonable excuse, bring or drive into the ground motor vehicle. And then, the ability to issue to prosecute in a magistrate's court or issue a fixed penalty notice, a fine of £1,000, that's on the standard scale.
I mean,
that's the ability there to do it. You can't.
I'm just wondering.
Look at all. You can't anticipate all scenarios, and that's why.
No.
Well, that's the way with every law, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose what my question is that through quiet negotiation, they left quite quickly.
Sure. Say they did.
Waiving, telling them you've got a bylaw and everything, we would probably have been able to get them off in 2 or 3 weeks if we could get it into court in that time. I'm not against doing it. I can't see any benefit. And what I would say as well is that in Holland, in the Netherlands, where they've actually reduced all this and all the rules, people are now, they are driving at a reasonable speed. They're not all crashing into each other at roundabouts and at crossroads, because when the difficulty is, there are a certain element that go out of their way to try and do the opposite of what you want them to do. So that is my question.
Yeah, but they're Dutch, you see.
I've got a lot of time for the Dutch.
I know, so
With that scenario, we're not going to go in heavy-handed enforcing. You judge every scenario proportionately. And it's about having the tools in your toolbox to be able to do something about the issues that arise. I can't anticipate what the issue will be.
I think the particular point that you mentioned, I mean, it would be right to try and get them off by quiet negotiation first, but it's good to have that as a backstop if it doesn't work.
No, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Nick.
Well, basically, I was going to back what Richard's just said. I mean, I think we have, like the police in some instances, you have discretion whether to actually enforce the law or not. But as we've said, if you've got those laws in your toolbox, there may come a situation where we think, yeah, we do need to use this law and enforce it in this instance. I don't think there's any harm in having them there to use at our discretion. And we decide, sorry, I just looked at the lower part, item 7. No cycles in lower park. Families have been cycling through that lower park, me included, when I was this big, for at least the last 70 years. And it's never been a problem. But I suppose with electric bikes and all the rest of it now, it could become a problem.
And the lower park ones are specifically written around the licence agreement we have. So actually, House Estates tell us that we shouldn't permit any cycles through it. So next July, I'm going to stand there with my class, and I'm going to ticket every. No, you're right. You don't. Some of them are just unenforceable, but you have to, Yes, Phil.
I was just going to make the observation that when I was solicitor to a local authority, we were an authority that had more than our fair share of parks, recreation grounds, cemeteries, and it was also an area where we had a lot of itinerant travellers and people like that coming in at various times of the year for agricultural things. We used the bylaws a lot. We didn't have that many bylaws, but the ones that we had, we found actually quite useful. And I think I agree with Alison. It's sometimes you look at what's happening and thinking, well, you know, we could enforce that, and they don't get enforced, and it seems rather pointless, but I think not to have them at all would be a mistake, because from time to time, they come in very useful.
Well, I'm happy to propose from the chair that we send these forward to the next stage in the process.
I think Morag's got her hand up.
Yes, well, if you're proposing it, Chair, I'll second it.
Okay, thanks. That's proposed and seconded that we send these forward to the next stage in the process. Those in favour, please.
Kelly has just left the room and
Yeah. Well, ask her when she gets back. Thanks. Any against? Abstentions? Right, outside bodies. Item 10. We have appendix N, appendix O. The appendix N first is the questionnaire from the Democracy and Boundary Commission Cymru. I don't know whether anyone's sent your individual responses. I have. But do if you can, because it's useful. It would be good to send a joint response off, but obviously we need to have the thing in front of us to do that. I've got the questions. Question is whether we do that now jointly, or whether we perhaps set up a group to look at this and make response. Whatever you want to do.
Could we come back to it at the end of the agenda, when we see how much time we've got left, and see whether we can do these together
That would be
at
sensible.
the end? Would that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. So appendix O is what we've already talked a little bit about, the Better Together programme, weasel words, I think. And there were a lot of weasel words in there as well. But this is what we've already talked about. And at the moment, really, there are only two things to say, I think. I mean, firstly, do make sure you've read it and you are up to date with everything there. The consultation process starts in September. We need to make sure that individually we all take part in that. And as a council, perhaps we take part in that. I'm not sure what opportunity we'll have to do that, but I'm sure something will come our way. The other thing is what was already suggested, that we might actually write at this stage to say something about particularly the range of scenarios put forward by staff, public and stakeholders, which you'll find on, I think, the 1, 2, 3, fourth page, third page, fourth page. And in which, of course, the one that's caused a great deal of angst is item 3 there. More services provided within centres of excellence, etc. And I mean, this could mean that some of our services, such as hospital beds, are provided in fewer locations than now. Actually, also means there will be fewer hospital beds fixed off. I think almost anybody read it. Richard.
Yeah, I think. Well, one thing I think we should do is make sure we have this on the agenda again at our meeting in September, because I think then we'll have a clearer idea as to exactly what they're consulting on, and we'll have the recommendations in front of us. I think that the other point I think we need to make is that Welshpool, as with the whole of Powys, has an ageing population. We've got more elderly people, we've got more demands on elderly people's services. Powys Council feels that particularly because we provide social care. And if you have fewer beds when people are ready to move on from general hospitals, then you'll be putting more pressure on adult social care services, which are already hugely under pressure. And I think that the impression I have is that Powers Teaching Health Board have the idea that they can provide more care at home for people when they leave hospital. And that's a great idea. It's something I'll be very much in favour of. But I just don't see at the moment with their current resources and are going to be able to do it.
No, we know the situation at the moment is that there are people in hospital who desperately want to go home.
Yes, absolutely.
Are certainly capable of going home if there were a care package set up and everything else put in place, and it's not put in place.
No, it is, and we have both the health board and the county council under huge pressure to provide the resources to do that. And what will happen if the beds close in Welshpool is not necessarily that they will go to Newtown, but they'll go to community hospitals in Shropshire. There are already people being discharged from Shrewsbury Hospital who are ending up in Whitchurch or Bishop's Castle or all kinds of other places. And that'll take them further away from where they live. And I think that's a real concern. But as I say, let's debate on it again. And I think, when we find out what the options are, we will need to campaign on them and raise awareness of them strongly as a town council.
Certainly. Alison.
I wonder whether it would be possible for us to leave a longer period of time on the September agenda for this, but also that we publicise it well to allow the public to come and speak in the public session about it, so that when we are discussing it, we're also better informed by their any comments that they've made on this item. Because I agree with Richard entirely, it's hugely important. And many of us have been in the position of having relatives who've been moved from one place to another. And I know in a different part of Wales, we've had that this past year with a relative who was taken out of the area where she lived entirely and moved to an entirely different area, which made it impossible for her relatives to reach her.
I mean, that happens now, and it may not happen all that often, but it does happen because we are already short on beds.
Yes.
So further, that makes it quite clear that further reduction of beds isn't.
No.
It is
not
a good thing.
As you said, it is weasel words, and for them to say that we maintain our already high quality healthcare service for years to come is insulting.
Notes that they have published their case for change, and we can access that from the paper we got. Worth reading, and
It's very long.
yes. Well, it's supposed to give up and just say yes or something.
No, it's very long.
But I certainly think that I would like us to, to emphasise in this debate now, for the sake of anyone who's recording it, that our hospital here in Welshpool is a modern and well-equipped hospital of its kind. It's well supported by the Hospital League of Friends. It's had a number of new works done recently that have improved facilities there. It seems absolutely crazy to remove bed care from a hospital like that. And it's worth emphasising that, in fact, the population of this area of Montgomeryshire is actually larger than the population of Newport and Newtown and the areas around there. Although Newtown is bigger than Welshpool, this is actually a well-populated area in Powys terms. Sorry, Jackson.
I was just going to say that how joined up is these consultations, because it's all well and good them doing a consultation and looking and being like, well, if Welshpool has any problems, they're just an easy train ride or a very short car ride from Shrewsbury. If Shrewsbury's doing the exact same thing and it's like, well, all the people of Shrewsbury are just a really easy train ride or car ride from Telford, then they can try and campaign to say, hey, we're shutting down Welshpool because you've got Shrewsbury. And then the next month, they say, well, we're shutting down Shrewsbury because the people of Shrewsbury have got Telford. And suddenly the people of Welshpool are expected to go all the way to Telford.
There is a huge national boundary between here and Shrewsbury, and that's part of the whole issue.
But it does seem like they're sort of, when it's coming to services, looking at the services over there and saying, oh, it'll be fine, it's over there, and not looking at what's actually going to happen over there in the next few years. Yeah.
So yes, if we can make space for this next time and make sure that we advertise it from the point of view of public participation, that sounds a really good suggestion. Do read all these papers and do make as much noise as you can individually as well, and we will aim to be as supportive as we can be of.
Do you want me to invite them to come?
To invite even? Yeah, why not? Why not?
I'm not saying you will come.
No, I suspect they won't, but it's worth inviting them. That takes on to item 10.3. Oh, sorry, I should just say, Kelly, while you were out, we voted to send the bylaws on to the next stage in the process. Yeah, so you can add Kelly to that vote, I think.
I can't because she wasn't in the room.
Okay, you can't, but we know she supports it.
The law says present and voting.
So I
Unfortunately,
think
Kelly hasn't present.
it's
No, it's fine.
But
I did try to hold it.
yeah. Okay, so that takes us on to item 10.3, council tax premium scheme. This is to consider the consultation from Paris County Council on council tax premium scheme for long-term empty properties. Obviously, this is a good thing in many ways because the aim of it is to ensure that people don't leave properties empty forever and ever. But don't know how many empty properties we've got long-term empty at Welshpool, but I know where some of them are. I walk past them every day. So, you know, it is an issue for us. That's we also do over. So that's an issue for us as well. As Town Clerk mentioned at the beginning. Phil.
Yeah, you say we don't know. I mean, maybe that's something we should have. We should maintain a register of empty or unused properties, and also find out who actually owns them. Because
Powers maintain a register and they issue them with at the moment at 200% tax bills.
right.
Remember, it's not necessarily the owner who's the liable party, is it?
No, it isn't. But it's often the owner who it's the same with shops that have been used for nefarious purposes. The people actually operating them aren't the people that actually you need to get at. It's the often absentee owners if they can be traced.
More to know a lot more about this, being a chair of the Valuation Tribunal for Wales, who get appeals on a lot of these billing issues that come with long-term entities. I won't steal their thunder, but you've got a consultation that Powers are doing. It's up to you. Do you want to respond or not? I'm not making you respond. It's up to the council if they want to respond.
I will turn to Maura then. Maura.
So thank you, Chair. Yes, it's a very interesting subject. I think with my housing background and the fact that there is a housing crisis in this country, it is shameful that properties are being sometimes deliberately left empty for very long periods. So I actually support this. It's good that it's not just empty properties for a couple of years. You know, if somebody's not been living in a property for 10 years, there's going to be some carrot or stick to get them to actually do something with that property to bring it back into into a habitable state and provide a home for somebody. I think it's a very good thing. And I look forward to the appeals against it, but should it become law?
Well, so Powers already have a scheme where they charge 100%. They're proposing to change it to a stepped approach. So
Yeah.
the longer the property is empty, the more that you pay. The law allows them currently to charge up to 300%, which some authorities in Wales do. And having worked with the Valuation Tribunal, you know full well those appeals. So some people do get charged 400% penalties. And Powers is looking to do the same. So it's up to you if you want to respond or not as a council, or just do it as individuals.
Yeah, I mean, there used to be a mechanism, I presume there still is, that the long-term empty properties can forcibly be acquired and returned to the
EDNOs.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
I don't think Powers use them, but
I think it's very difficult.
I think it is very difficult.
I think as we're representing our community, and it is awful living next to an empty property. That property immediately has a negative impact on your property. You know, if it's left in a state of disrepair, you're looking after your nice front garden, and the house, the other half of the semi isn't. And it's just grim. And I think the people that live next door to these empty properties would feel that they wanted us to do something.
So is that a suggestion that we actually respond to this as a council, or simply encouraging that we should all, as individuals,
I would say the same as I said before. Can we see how much time we've got left at the end? Because we can do it. If we can do it at the end of this meeting, then that's great. But otherwise, I would suggest that we do it individually. And we could do it individually anyway.
Oh yes, we should anyway. Yeah. Maura, do you want to come back, or if?
Sorry, no, I already have my hand up, so I haven't lowered it yet. I apologise.
Okay, so we'll see what time we've got at the end of the show, so to speak. Takes on to item 11, motions for debates, and the motion we have in front of us is the one regarding shopping trolleys, particularly shopping trolleys belonging to Morrison's. And I think the point of this coming here is not so we have another lengthy debate about it, but because it would be more sensible for the council to write to Morrison's and to write to Paris County Council than for an individual to do so. The idea really being that Morrison's might review the effectiveness of their trolley retention processes, such as they are. And I'm not aware of any really. They're apart from the fact that you have to put £1 in to get one more. £1, not a lot to get a whole shopping trolley at the top of the canal, is it? To ask Paris County Council whether it's considered adopting the Section 99 Schedule 4 powers of the Environmental Protection Act 1990 that would give it a formal mechanism to recover the costs involved with abandoned trolleys in future, which then puts a little bit of pressure on Morrison's to make a better job of it. I'm not sure how much of a huge problem it is, because you see lots of shopping trolleys around. You don't know how long. How long it's taken for that number to build up, but it's got to be a loss for the store to reach that many trolleys. So anything you want to add to that?
So in response to what you said, they lose the trolleys in record numbers, and I know that because I've spoken to some of the staff. I've seen they had, I don't know if you remember, but they were only there for a very short while. They had gotten brand new trolleys that were plastic. They looked like baskets, if you remember them, not the metal ones. They all disappeared in a matter of under a month. To this day, I think they recovered 2. There was the mess at Oldford that I came across. They recovered 11 trolleys in the park. There was a trolley on the trail behind Prince of Wales Drive, complete missing its wheels. So far, 4 trolleys dug out of the canal in the last 3 weeks. And they're all Morrison's. Very rarely do you get a Tesco's one for some weird reason, but it is all Morrison's. So I'd like to put pressure on Morrison's because it does take time to get those back to Morrison's. And in every case so far, the residents have been the ones to return them. They shouldn't have to. It should be up to Morrison's to deal with it. But if I'm not mistaken, you're the one that told me research-wise that at some point they did have.
Oh, in the past, because I was
yeah.
there when it was the Safeways, and they certainly had a locking mechanism then. Different times, yeah.
Times,
Different
okay.
times, yeah.
Could we, as a town council, legitimately pressure Morrison's? Without pressurising the other supermarkets that provide trolleys as well?
If you've identified an issue with that particular company, then yes. I think in terms of this discussion, it was because
I've seen Tesco trolleys all over town.
then you should treat
Have
them.
you?
Or if you've seen them, then you should treat them equally.
And Aldi
Yeah,
for that
definitely.
matter.
I would like
And
to
be
hold
there.
all of them accountable if
Yeah.
possible.
It's harder to take a Tesco trolley off the premises because they have those strips that you can't push the trolley over, but they do still go, and that we had one up our way. At one point, in Building actually. But
Who's pushing a trolley to the town centre to get to Dortmund?
They found a Tesco one at Luddington Cross a couple weeks ago.
Good luck.
It's awful.
Richard,
I have already raised this with the county council, and I was hoping to have a formal reply that I could give you tonight, but I haven't yet, but it will come, and probably a letter from Richard will.
We'll get the response as well.
We'll get the response. I think that the point that they did make to me is that we're talking about relatively small sums of money in recovering the cost of returning a trolley. So you would be Powys Council would be issuing a very small invoice to Morrison's or Tesco's, whoever it was, to return the old trolley here and the old trolley there. And it probably really wouldn't make a great deal of difference to the problem. I think the problem is better tackled by the way Morrison's and Tesco's operate their trolleys. And my understanding is that it was more of a problem with Morrison's than Tesco's. If it's a Tesco's problem as well, then fine. But obviously, when we've got the full reply from the county council, then that can be shared with the town council.
Yeah, if you look at the motion, we're not actually asking Powys to adopt.
Yeah.
It's considering whether they have, because I know that MPT just have adopted at equal time, but I think the first Council of Wales have now adopted the ability to find the companies who they keep fishing the trolleys out of the river.
The only other thing I wanted to add to was I'm worried about health and safety. On my trips around town, I've seen trolleys in the middle of streets where cars have had to go around them. And just last week, we encountered 3 teenagers playing with a trolley in Oldford, pushing each other in the trolley down the street, which cars come all the time. Who's to say that trolley is not gonna get hit by a vehicle or hit somebody else's vehicle? That's also my concern as well.
not quite a different concern in a sense, but I mean, it's it's a simple fact that especially during the long school holidays, some kids are going.
It's something that's gone on for decades.
Yeah.
I mean, kids get bored, they find something, they do something with it. I mean.
So with, you happy to propose that we write to all the supermarkets in Powys,
Yes, please.
I think, and to Powys on those terms. Yeah, would someone go to second that? Yeah, that's cool. Those in favour? Yeah. I'm happy to do that. Okay. That's everyone. Right, we'll see what response we get.
Thank you.
Any items for the agenda of the next full council meeting, which will be held on the 23rd of September, a long way away. I nearly said December, that would be dreadful. Yes.
I'm assuming there'll be a meeting of the Tour de France committee between now and then, but perhaps we can include that, the Tour de
No,
France.
there will be, because
Yeah.
we've had some more information from Powers that we
Okay.
discussed at
Okay.
Anything else?
I was wondering if we'd had any information back from the water companies about the situation, or not responded yet. Yeah.
Isn't really for them for September, because hopefully this will be resolved before then. But I do think that we need to really up our game in supporting vociferously complaining on behalf of our local businesses, noting that one company managed to resurface Brook Street and Union Street in 3 nights, working overnight with minimal disruption. And we are expected to cope with 15 working days of disruption at the cross, and they've already closed various businesses that had to,
including ours.
Yes, including ours, which had to close business because they cut through the electricity or something. So I think that this is inappropriate. We need to fight to keep our businesses going. On top of that, and on top of the matter I brought last time about public transport, I do really feel that if, you know, the trains couldn't run in Reading when there was that accident, it was a national news. If the electricity was cut out at a major crossroads in Southwark, it'd be, you know, crisis and everybody'd know about it. It's Welshpool, so let's not bother. And I'm not saying it's just Welshpool. I think it's Mid Wales. I think they're quite relaxed about the speed they do things.
I think it's any small town anyway, to be honest.
Yes.
It's quite depressing,
Yes.
but
And I think we need to make a fuss about it. It's not acceptable.
I mean, it's not quite a straightforward comparison between the road resurfacing and this, because it is a sort of fairly difficult load of electrical work, but it's still.
Well, they could do it at night. There's no need to do it during.
It still could be done outside.
It could be done at night. The people are obviously, they come from Scotland, so they're obviously not travelling daily, and therefore they could do it at night. The businesses needn't suffer, and neither should all the people that are here for the summer, as well as our residents.
Make a sunbathe all day. Yeah. So yeah, we will actually, it would be worth having a section looking at roads generally in the town, I think.
Well, transport
generally, perhaps, yeah. So
yeah, it has been said before, but it's been absolutely scandalous how long these are the main traffic lights in the town. We may not be a big town. We are the second biggest town in Montgomeryshire. And for them to have been out for so long, apparently because there was one part that they couldn't obtain, seems to me
because they couldn't afford
fairly
to do it. That's right.
ridiculous argument. I'd love to know exactly which part it was that they were having such trouble locating. Because I think any one of us could have gone on the internet and found it.
And could have probably done eBay.
Nick.
Can I just point out that due to that electrical glitch, some ladies from Boots the Chemist actually told me that they put a sign in the window saying very sorry we're closed due to electrical failure. And there were people actually thumping on the glass doors and subjecting the staff to some quite nasty verbal abuse.
Yeah, that's very justified. Yes, Ken.
I just want to say I echo Councillor her sentiments, because even also agreement they did the repaving at night too for the safety of the workers as well as the coolness of the temperatures. I've seen what they wore during the day. I mean, surely it would be more beneficial to do it at night for the workers themselves. I'm thinking heat stroke, the outfits they wear. I just don't understand any of it, to be fair.
That's what we could perhaps make.
Let's face it, if it was Japan, they'd have done it in a week.
What we don't necessarily want is that's an entire debate at this point, because we're talking about items for the next meeting. Next meeting is on the 23rd of September. That is the end of this part of this meeting.
Sorry, there was one other thing I spoke to Rishi about before and I meant to mention. Could we invite the new chair, or rather the chair has just been re-elected of the Cambrian line to our meeting? They are they're on social media telling us, you know, all the things they're doing, and they're giving out grants and they're supported by Transport for Wales, and basically, you know, they're giving out grants for flower boxes and all sorts of other things for us to enjoy while we're at a station waiting for a train that isn't going to come.
Yeah,
So I think we should have them here and get.
But not the station.
No, but not this station. And the point is this is the second busiest station on the line. So I think we need him here as well.
Yep. And also there's next one and the one after it.
Oh, just as a very quick support thing for you, Alison. One of the other big problems is now when there's a bus replacement service, they hold it at the bus stop by Tesco's because disabled access to the previous location was impossible. But they don't have any facilities or any staff. So if the bus is running 20, 30 minutes late, as it has done on a few occasions, there's absolutely no one to tell anyone, no information online. So there's just a load of people hanging around by a bus stop wondering what on earth's going on. So having facilities like that would be great. Yes.
Again, those questions to put to the
Yes, indeed. So having them there would be great.
So
Or even better signing.
Yeah. That's the end of the non-confidential part of the bit. We either go home or we go into confidential session, depending on whether someone. Oh, thank you, Richard. No, but Phil. Anyone care to second that? Thank you. Either Nick or Jackson. Those in favour? Thank you.